Imagine to individuals, Daniel and Laura. They both retire on the same exact date, January 1st, 2025. Both worked in finance throughout their careers. Each of them managed to accumulate precisely $1 million in savings. Both plan to withdraw $40,000 annually to support their lifestyle. Their investments are identical, placed in the same diversified index funds. Over the next 2 decades, both portfolios generate the same average annual return of 7%. Logically, you might expect their financial outcomes to match. Same capital, same strategy, same returns, the results should be identical, right? But reality tells a different story. 15 years later, Daniel has completely depleted his savings and is forced to sell his home to stay afloat. Laura, on the other hand, still has more than $1.4 million remaining and enjoys a comfortable retirement. How can 2 identical starting points lead to such drastically different outcomes? The explanation lies in a powerful but rarely discussed concept that reveals why averages alone can be dangerously misleading. This hidden factor shows that retirement success isn't determined only by how much you earn, but by when those returns happen. This phenomenon is known as sequence of returns risk. My name is Benny, and I spend far too much time analyzing the hidden mathematical traps within financial systems. If you believe hitting a target savings number guarantees safety, consider subscribing and liking this video, because today we're breaking down why timing can matter more than total returns. You'll see the math behind sequence risk, why it hits early retirees hardest, and what strategies can reduce its impact. One of the biggest flaws in traditional retirement planning is relying on average returns. Financial calculators often assume a smooth yearly growth rate, maybe 7% or 8%, creating the illusion of steady progress. But markets don't move smoothly. Real-life returns arrive unevenly, and this difference changes everything. Here's the crucial insight. Once withdrawals begin, the order of returns becomes far more important than the average itself. Daniel retired just before a rough market period. During his first 3 years, his portfolio experienced a negative 5% return, followed by a negative 10%, and then a positive 20% recovery. Because he needed income, he sold investments during losses simply to pay expenses. Each withdrawal reduced his remaining capital, amplifying the damage. This process is called negative compounding. It can silently destroy portfolios. Selling assets during downturns locks in losses and removes capital that would otherwise recover during future growth. Laura faced the exact same market returns, but in reverse order. Her retirement began with a strong 20% gain, followed by the negative years later, even though her average outcome matched Daniel's. The early growth gave her a financial buffer. She withdrew money from a larger base, allowing her investments more room to recover during downturns. Over the full 20-year period, their average returns remained mathematically identical, yet Daniel's early losses combined with withdrawals created a downward spiral. Laura's early gains created stability and resilience. The difference wasn't intelligence or strategy, it was timing. Sequence of returns risk highlights that retirement risk isn't evenly distributed across time. The first 5 to 10 years after retiring represent a highly sensitive period where market performance has a new, sized impact. During your working years, volatility can actually help you because new contributions allow you to buy assets at lower prices. Market declines become opportunities. But once withdrawals begin, volatility transforms into a threat because you're forced to sell assets to fund living expenses. A significant market downturn early in retirement can cause permanent damage. Selling assets during losses reduces the portfolio's ability to recover, creating long-term consequences even if markets eventually rebound. I call this critical window the red zone, a decade where sequence risk is most dangerous. Even a perfectly calculated retirement plan can fail if bad returns occur at the wrong time. While predicting market timing is impossible, preparing for sequence risk is absolutely achievable. The primary goal is simple: avoid selling growth assets during market downturns, especially early in retirement. This requires rethinking how assets are allocated around retirement. One effective method is the bucket strategy. which separates investments based on time horizon and purpose. The first bucket is a cash reserve, holding 3 to 5 years of expenses in cash or highly liquid accounts. This acts as a buffer during market crashes, allowing retirees to avoid selling stocks when prices are down. The second bucket contains bonds or other stable income assets covering an additional 5 to 7 years of expenses. This layer provides another defense if markets remain weak longer than expected. The third bucket serves as the growth engine, a diversified stock portfolio intended for long-term appreciation because this capital has a longer horizon. It can withstand volatility and benefit from compounding. Each year, when markets perform well, gains from the growth bucket replenish the cash reserve. When markets fall, withdrawals come from safer assets instead, protecting long-term investments. Beyond asset allocation, rigid withdrawal strategies can increase risk instead of withdrawing the same fixed amount every year. Retirees should consider dynamic withdrawals that are just spending based on market conditions. In strong market years, modest increases in spending may be acceptable. In weak years, temporarily reducing withdrawals by 5 to 10% can dramatically improve long-term outcomes. Another powerful defense involves generating flexible income early in retirement. Even part-time or consulting work can reduce withdrawal pressure and help portfolios survive difficult market periods. The emotional challenge of sequence risk is significant because it appears just when people expect freedom. After decades of saving, facing early losses can feel unfair and discouraging. But understanding this risk turns uncertainty into strategy. Instead of saving endlessly, the focus shifts toward building resilience through structure, flexibility, and preparation. Sequence of returns risk isn't a mystery or a curse. It's a known variable that can be managed with thoughtful planning. Avoid relying solely on averages. Use layered strategies, flexible withdrawals, and strong risk buffers to navigate market cycles successfully. If this revealed a risk you hadn't considered before, hit like and subscribe for more practical insights on building financial security. I'll see you in the next video.